Welcome to the Anderson and Lindhardt Show. This is episode 36. In this episode, we discuss alternative routes for continuing education other than attending college, and we also end up talking about spiritual lessons we've both personally learned recently. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless. Just keep going.
Okay, no, I just had to press got it on my screen. But I was like, I'm sick of, I don't want to, move out to an apartment. So I called my buddy who's a mortgage loan officer, and he said in 3 months he could have me house shopping. So I was like, dang. And the crazy thing was he said and it's like it's not like a crappy mortgage. It's like a good amount. Like it wouldn't just be like a dumpy house. So I was like pretty pumped. Anyways, but I was talking to him and he was just saying how he got hired to co-host a podcast with 70,000 subscribers. And I was like, what? You gonna have us on? But it's about like mortgage stuff and like
I was gonna say it's probably
finance
boring
and stuff, but it's still pretty cool. Anyway,
that's awesome.
I was talking to him and he's like, I think he said he's 20 credits from getting his degree. We graduated the same year. So he was on my basketball team and he was just telling me, he's like, I'm doing my dream job. He has his own, mortgage company. Like he's off on his own. And he's like, I just feel like right now, like he's like, if I have the opportunity to choose making money or finishing my degree, I'm going to make money. I'm going to, continue to pursue this opportunity. And it's just been interesting. Like a lot of people I've been talking to recently have just been like, I'm not going to school. It's just like not for me. And I agree that everyone should take their own path, but everyone should continue to get an education, continue to learn and grow. And so that's kind of what I know you're someone that's really good at that and someone that, doesn't just say that. And I'm sure you're not perfect. Like I'm sure there's days that go by where you don't,
for sure,
read or listen to a podcast, but you do a lot more than most people. So episode 36. Episode 36.
We'll just roll into it. This is episode 36. So welcome everybody. Carter and I were just kind of chatting before I hit record, and so just want to keep things rolling. But dude, really, really crazy you bring this up, this whole idea of like so we haven't really done a podcast for, I think the last podcast we recorded was almost 2 weeks ago, 10 or 11 days ago. And wow, time goes by fast. But anyways, so you were saying it was
last week.
Dude, me too. That's weird. Like today's Thursday. It was 2 weeks ago I drove down. And oh, by the way, time out. Riley and I are coming to St. George next weekend.
Okay.
We bought the tickets. It's Friday night is the show at the Tuacahn. So I'm going to talk with her and decide where we're going to stay. And I'll let you know ASAP if that works.
Yeah, no, like again, no pressure. Like I understand if you guys want to get your own hotel room, but like if you don't, like just know, like we can just give you a key. You can come in and out whenever you want. Like if you guys want to do something, great. If not, you're totally free to just stay there. And
we appreciate that
stuff. So
we appreciate that a lot. So I'll let you know ASAP. But I'm excited for her to see the Tuacahn.
That'll be she's gonna. I mean, especially because she loved plays so much, she's gonna love that.
Yeah, she loves plays and musicals, and she was always in all the plays in high school, so it'll be fun. I was just talking to her. I was like, when you're artsy, like musical singer, performer in high school, you're an absolute nerd. But when you're out of high school, everyone like praise. Those are our celebrities,
the actors.
The actors, the musicians. We were just listening to live performances by like Sia and Rihanna, and they're just like singing and they're incredible. And you're like, if that girl was in my high school, I'd be like, hey, that's the nerdy choir girl,
I'll play a sport, loser.
And it's like, the jocks, they still stay popular too outside of high school, but it's just funny how like it's just weird how they're both not. I think that was the point of High School Musical, bro. It was trying to be like, hey, they're both cool. Anyway, so Carter was just talking about how he's just been bumping into a lot of people, and this is something we've talked about before, but lately I guess it's been coming up more in your life, where people are deciding that college isn't the route for them personally, and so they're choosing to not go to college and they're pursuing different routes. But the point that you were saying is that if you're, well, one, people, especially more like old school conservative type conservative types, think that they ask me, hey Reiss, what are you doing with your life? Or, what school are you going to? That's what they'll usually ask. Or what are you getting your degree in? These are like the questions
Like,
that
I'm
I'll
going
ask.
to the school of hard knocks.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the school of get
The
gains
gym.
every day. So, but it's weird because then I just have to tell them, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to university. I'm just getting educated through other avenues.
Mhm.
They're always like, oh, okay. And in their mind, they're like,
You're like,
stupid
what's
kid. Like,
wrong with you?
but the point is that one, they think that if you're not getting your education through a university, then you're not getting educated. And so that was the point Carter was making. That was like, if you're not going to go to college, it doesn't mean you get a free pass not to get educated. And so
I think a lot of people just don't like, they don't know what the other options are for like educating yourself, because it's like you go to school and it's very formatted, like, math, English,
it's so
science,
helpful
history.
that it's like formatted and you have classes and teachers and they give you papers and they tell you what to study. It's like that is freaking awesome because of
Right.
how easy it is. But I've been thinking a lot about like the whole college thing, and
Well,
because
can I
I
share a quick story that
oh
also
yeah.
formulated this? So two things. So I told I love the secretary at my high school. She's like so funny
Dude, the
and just like,
secretaries at the high schools are the best.
yeah. And at their seminary, they're even just better. And so
Yeah.
like, I was just telling her that I dropped all my classes, and she's a little bit older and she's pretty conservative. Like, some of the like comments she'll make is just so funny. She's like, all these girls wearing underwear all around and wearing these half shirts, and so it's just like funny. Like, she'll make
Yeah.
comments like that.
Sweet lady.
So she's pretty old school, and I told her that I had stopped going to school. She's like, well, you're going back, right? Like, you're gonna go back. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, probably, like, that's the plan. And it was just interesting to like kind of see like some people's mind shifts. Is like, that's like, they like, are you serious? Like,
It's
you're
like
gonna forego,
if you don't do university, you're what the
what are
freak are
you
you
gonna
gonna
do?
do?
How are you gonna pay for your bills? And then again, I was like, the same day I was on a phone call with the lady that like orders my medicine for hemophilia. And I told her again, like, I'd stopped going to school this semester except for my internship. And she was like, well, if, I mean, if you want a good paying job, you got to have a degree. And I was just like, I just agreed with her. I was like, I'm not having this
That's how I
conversation
am.
with
I'm
you.
like, yeah,
But I'm
okay.
just
Have a
like,
good one. Love you.
she's
Bye.
like, unless you do entrepreneurship. I'm like, oh yeah. But it was just like, it's
Yeah.
so interesting how so many people like, they just don't understand, that you can still educate yourself, that you can still find really good jobs, that you can still have
Yeah.
these things. So I just kind of wanted to like that's kind of like my background, is like the past few weeks people have just been kind of like, that's stupid, or like, why would you even consider that? And again, like Reiss has said previously, we're not against going to
Not by
universities,
any means. Not
but
like not in a million years because I feel like the spiritual growth I've been having this year. This is something I've always believed, but I don't know if you saw my quote. I think it was, when did I do it? On my Instagram, on my story.
I
Was it
look at the
today?
quote every day. Also, Clay told me, I don't know if he reached out to you, but he told
Uh,
me that your stories pump him up. He said, we
really?
went to dinner. He was like, he's like, I haven't told him yet, but he's like, every time I wake up and I see his story, I'm like, dang, Reese has already got his workout in, and I'm just getting out of bed or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
And he was just saying how it motivated him. I was like, Reese would appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that so much because that's like the point, So I really love hearing that. So that's good. Um, but I'm looking forward. It's yeah. So this one is the one I did today. It's Jordan Peterson, believe it or not. I
Oh,
actually
that's
read
weird.
him. Yeah, dude, he is like gonna write another book.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about it in his podcast like 2 days ago, and I was like, but it probably won't be out for like 2 or 3 years, so I'm staying patient. But he said you can only find out what you actually believe rather than what you think you believe by watching how you act. So a lot of people um, they think they believe all this stuff, but if you really look at their actions, that's what true by their fruits ye shall know them.
It's like the Baptist people, they're like, yeah, I believe in Jesus, and then I'm saved. But it's like, by your actions, do you really believe in Jesus?
Yeah,
No. Like,
exactly.
it's
Good.
okay.
Exactly. And so, frick, I kind of forgot where I was going with this. Sucks.
Talking about,
If if you lose your thought, then it wasn't important enough to
yeah,
say, and if it is important enough to
it'll
say,
come
then it'll
back.
come back. Um, So yeah, but anyways, I've just been thinking a lot about with terms with college. I was talking to my mom again because still I really just I've kind of completely made my decision that I'm never going to go to college. Like before on my mission, the door was open. And then towards the end of my mission, I had kind of received this inspiration for myself that maybe this isn't the thing for me, so I'm not going to go. And then I got home from my mission and I was looking at like Ensign College, which was LDS Business College, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll go there and just to get away from home and get to know people or whatever. And then I went and sold pest control, blah blah blah, come back, and then this year I've really felt that it's like it's just really not for me, and I've really decided, and I remembered what I was going to say, so I guess it was important. But the spiritual growth that I've really felt in myself this year, so this is something I've always believed. This is why I brought up this quote. This is something I've always believed, but maybe I didn't believe it as much as I thought I was because my actions weren't mirroring it. But my actions are really starting to mirror this, and I've noticed that in myself just like this past couple weeks, and I'm like, whoa, like maybe this belief is actually like
It's legit.
it's flowering. Like, yeah, it's actually part of me now. And it's the belief that it's, I guess I haven't articulated it yet, but it's just the belief that you just let people live their own lives and you just who cares? And so it's basically just taking judgment out of things. And I'm talking about the judgment of, so I'm not talking about it in a gospel sense of like, oh, my best friend is, leaving the church and sinning like crazy, and you come at it from like a judgmental observational standpoint. I'm talking about it like if Sally from my high school wants to go to 8 year or 4 years of college and wants to be a liberal and be marching on the streets and posting all this stuff on, I'm like, cool. Because before I would always say, yeah, I believe that people should just do what they want. And yeah, you can influence people for good and stuff like that. Like that's awesome. But in the end, it's always up to them. And I shouldn't sit here and use all my energy judging them. Like I should use my energy to better myself, to influence people for good, to serve, to contribute, to love, to heal, to exercise. Like I should be using my energy for that and not for like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this girl from my high school is like transitioning now, or I can't believe that they are like,
she had a baby and she's not
whatever.
married.
Yeah, like
or
all this crap.
they're not going to college. What are they doing with their life?
Exactly. And so the reason I bring this up is because that's kind of where I'm at now with like, if you want to go to college, cool, like go. If you don't, cool, don't. But because I was talking with my mom about it, and we were bringing up a cool point of view. So maybe in the end you're not going to go for a degree, but maybe for some people it's good for them to get into college right out of high school, not for the education, but for the having that structure. So like we talked about how college is very structured. You have your classes, you have the teacher gives you assignments, you have the homework, like everything's for the most part fairly structured. And for some people, if they don't have that structure, then they just can't operate in the world, and that's okay. Right. So like that's my point. I'm like, nothing's wrong with them. That's just how they operate in the world. That's their personality type. They need structure. Like there's a elder from our mission. Well, he's not an elder anymore. He's actually married, but I'll mention his name to you after. But he was very, very structured. Like I had the opportunity to be around him for most of my mission. He was in the same ward I was serving in when he came out as a greenie. And so he was like, he needed structure, he needed rules, he needed checklist, and he loved it. He loved the exact obedience culture. He loved the to-do list. He loved the daily schedule. But then you have someone who's more like me, who I'm not like the other side. Like I still like the structure. I like to have a routine. But I'm not on that extreme where he was. And so I can handle things like not going to college after. And so the point, my mom and I were talking, we were like, it's okay if you just need to go to college for a year or two or three just to build friends and get out and go experience the world and
make connections. That's one of the things that I've found. I was like, bare minimum. Like I think it's interesting how a lot of the time we view things as like worst case scenario, like what's the
Yeah.
worst case scenario? And to me, it's like, all right, I spend a couple $1,000 making connections with people, and I've
And
made like
money's going
some
to come back, you know?
right, and I made some really cool connections, just going to school. And it's like, if that was the worst case scenario, that's a pretty good worst case scenario.
Facts. And so that's what I've really been like pondering on is, well, and another thing, if you're somebody who's listening right now, or, just speaking generally, if you're somebody who doesn't want to go to college really, and you see your life more as an entrepreneur, and you kind of see a path this way, but you kind of are feeling like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do after high school, I think I should go to college. Well, once you go to college, it does not mean you have to get a degree. It doesn't mean that. You can leave whenever you want. No one's making you go, no one's making you stay. And it's not quitting. Like I have a I have beef with this term of like never quit. In some ways, I get it if it's from a certain intention, because I think your family says like Anderson's never quit or something.
Yeah, Andersons don't quit.
Okay, so like that intention's completely different. I'm talking about intentions of like, if somebody's like, if you go to college, for example, and they're like, you can't quit, you have to get your degree, but maybe you 100% truly like inside yourself feel like, no, I don't feel like that's for me.
Right.
And some
Or
people
I
will
think
feel
like
like they're
missionaries that
quitting.
come home early,
Oh yeah,
like kind of that. I kind of see what you're saying, because it's like there's like, you're not going to just quit and like stop. There's a point where it's like, yeah, you need to push yourself, but then there are scenarios where you feel like what's best for you is to change direction. So I see what
exactly.
you're
And that's
saying.
okay. And so I feel like the intention that like your family's mantra or whatever comes from is like never give up,
Right.
which is awesome. Like I love that. I love that mantra. It's like, yeah, never give up. It's like that's what that your family's mantra is and stuff. And that's a good rule to live by, because if you don't finish like a project you're working on because you feel like it's actually best to just leave it where it is and to move on in a different direction, like that's not quitting. But you can still not give up in that situation. And so that's been like a big distinguisher in my mind that's helped me. But I mean, I kind of want to get into another thing real fast, but if you have anything else to say before we do, you can say it. But I just want to kind of tell you like what I'm doing right now, because I'm actually doing something. I just started some educational pursuits right now. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
crazy that you bring
that's
this
kind
up.
of
But do
what.
you have anything else to say on kind of the
No,
thought we're on?
I'm just interested to kind of, because like when we were I think we said this before we started recording, but like my question to Reiss was, I think a lot of people don't like when they ask him, like, because he's one of the most educated people I know, but he's not quote unquote going to school. And so I think I just was curious to kind of pick his brain on how he, number one, disciplines himself to like do that, but number two, like just what does he do to educate himself? Because as you guys listen to the podcast, I mean, he's throwing out facts and quotes that I'm just like, dude, I've never even like, how do you even know what a neutron, whatever, like is?
Jimmy
Like anyway,
Neutron, bro.
just like stuff like that. And so like obviously you're very educated. So I think like just kind of going into that was like that's kind of our intention of this, is to kind of try and understand, maybe some ways that we can continue to educate ourselves in a productive way
Yeah.
without having that structure of, go to class, turn in your assignments, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So first off, not going to college I have had many bouts of existential anxiety of like, what the freak am I going to do with my life? How the heck am I going to create the life I want? Like it's been scary, because I think that's what college kind of gives you, this sense of security, where it's like, okay, like I got my path laid out, I'm gonna be an accountant. Like this is my brother-in-law right now, dude.
If you get a good degree, you get a good job, you'll be okay,
If you
which
get a
is
good
not
degree,
true.
you get
But
to give the government 60 hours of your time every week. It's so good. It's like,
right.
dude. So like my brother-in-law, bro, he's about our age. He's actually really close to your age, but he was a grade behind us just because of, the way his birthday lined up or whatever. But anyways, so this is his senior year in college. He's going to Virginia Tech, but I can't speak for him, and I honestly like still don't know him that well yet, which I hope he's my brother-in-law now, so I'm sure we'll get to know each other better over the years. But I do know him a little bit, and I know his personality, and he's very funny, but he's also very tender-hearted, and he's very kind and ambitious, and he's got dreams and whatnot, but he's just kind of gone into this, he's been funneled by society, friends, parents into this go to college, get a job thing. And so he's really naturally good with numbers. It's really easy for him. Numbers are easy. Math is easy. Having an Excel sheet with just like thousands of numbers on there that have to be organized, he's good at that type of stuff. So he's like, well, I guess I'll be an accountant. I mean, that pays good. It's one of the better paying jobs and that I can get. And so it's like, that's what he's doing. And it's just like, he's not happy about it. He's not happy about it at all. It's like, that sucks, dude. And so it makes me sad to see people like that. But I do know, like, at least in the back of his mind, he's like, this sucks so bad, but at least I have security.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be thinking those thoughts, but it's definitely unconscious that it gives you the sense of security. So it feels safe. And
It's
so I
kind
have
of like
felt very unsafe not going.
when you like in a spiritual sense, you talk a lot about like having faith to like take a step and you don't see where it's going. I feel like, not that, and again, it's not a bad thing, but school kind of eliminates that, because you're like, I have this in my back pocket. And not that can be a good thing to have that security,
Yeah,
but when
exactly.
you decide not to, you're literally kind of taking that step into like, I don't know what's going to really come of this. And so, like you're saying, it is like a pretty hard like bridge to jump over, because that is kind of scary to be like, all right, well, this is my path that I've decided, and I don't have this, worldly security, but I trust that, I'm going to do the work and things are going to
Yeah.
work out. But it is like, I can
Yeah.
definitely understand that.
And here's the thing, so humans use like their eyes a lot. We rely on eyesight a lot, and that kind of that makes us think that you have to be able to see everything in order. So for example, like people expect, at our age, we're early 20s, people expect to ask us, what are you going to do with your life? And they expect us to know everything, and they expect us to know how we're going to get the job and how we're going to get the degree and where we're going to live and where we're going to work. And it's like, dude, you don't know who you're going to meet tomorrow.
Right.
You as a graphic designer could bump into somebody who owns a multi-million-dollar company, and you guys bump into each other waiting in a long line at Lagoon, and he could say, you guys could start chatting, and then you say, yeah, I like graphic design, I've done it for a while, and he could say, oh, well, hit me up, I actually need one for my social media. And then boom, you could be making
Well,
500 grand.
do you want to hear something crazy? So I was
Yeah.
I was at work today, and the guy's gym that we went and worked at, Steve Cook.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my boss is like best friends with him, and he's like,
Seriously.
yeah, we text and call all the time. And I'm just like, like I could, like, it's just like crazy stuff like that. Like
You
you
could
have no
get
idea who,
networked with
who
him.
knows each other. And all of a sudden, you're having Steve Cook on your podcast, whatever it might be. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. You never know. Like
So
I
that's
wouldn't have
like,
guessed that would happen.
yeah, you can't predict what's going to happen. What's the quote? Man makes a plan and God laughs.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, you make a plan, and like you make a life plan, and it's definitely good to have a plan, and you definitely should have a plan, and you definitely should have an aim and a goal and something you're working towards, but be flexible in the approach. And so don't be surprised if something goes off. And then that's where like the don't quit thing comes in, like the mentality. It's like, no, just never give up, because if you're going along, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, oh dang, I should go to college. It's like, then go to college. Or like, if you feel like you should get out, then get out. But anyways, I will preface all this by saying that it has been actually like hard. It's not like a woe is me type thing, but I
Mhm.
just want to say, like, it has been, has I have felt a lot of this anxiety of like, crap, how am I going to make this happen? Like, I know what I want to do, I know who I want to be, but like, how am I going to freaking make it happen? And like, I look at people, like, there's this lady I follow on Instagram, she's from Utah, her Instagram is just ingredients, I think it's like just dot ingredients. But basically her story in a nutshell is like, she got to the point where she literally had her suicide planned, and she attempted suicide, failed, and then she started learning about food and how it affects you mentally, and she started learning about all the ingredients that have been put in our food, and that's like horrible for us. And so she started educating herself on it, and then she got so smart she started educating other people on it. Now she has 500,000 followers on Instagram, and almost 600,000, I think. And she goes to medical seminars and teaches the doctors, the MDs,
right.
the PhDs about food and ingredients and cleaning supplies and stuff like that. Like, so now she went from some random working lady mom almost killed herself to owns this.
Teaching doctors
She's
about food.
teaching doctors, dude. It's like, and where's, she doesn't have a degree. She doesn't have a piece of paper that said she went to school to learn this stuff. She just has learned the crap out of it. And so it's like, that's the world we live in now. It's the internet is amazing and there's so many tools to learn. And so I have had to just practice trust a lot of just like, okay, I'm just going to keep moving forward and something's going to happen. And so actually just in the past, I haven't talked to you about this yet because I didn't want to just text you or something like
Right.
that. So I've just been waiting. But after the weekend where I came down there and we all worked out, um, so first off, I've loved working out for a long time, but it's always kind of just been like this thing. And I've always loved health and I've always loved learning about health. I mean, I think I mentioned the type of shake that Elder Thornock and I would drink in the morning, like on the last podcast or whatever. It's just like, I've just really loved learning about health and how the body works and how you can better it and fitness and stuff. But I never really thought that would be like my thing.
Mhm.
Like when I visualized myself, I always visualized myself as like a personal mentor, coach, kind of like Kirk Duncan, because he's like the guy who kind of got me into it. But here's the thing. So I always thinking about, so I knew what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a personal mentor, coach, and help people, right? But that's a very, very general desire. And I've always known that like I need to find a specific tool to make that happen. And so, but that's where the anxiety would come in, is because I'm like, I don't know how to make this happen. And um, so after that weekend of working out, I was at my parents' house on Sunday, and um, Jackson, our buddy, he hit me up a couple of days earlier and was asking me if I could kind of help him throw together a little fitness plan to kind of lean out, get strong, flexible, just to prepare for basketball. And um, I hadn't done it yet. Like totally procrastinated. I felt like so bad because I like dipped on him like twice. I was like, dude, I'll do it, I promise. And then we went to St. George, forgot about it. Anyways, I was sitting next to my mom and Jackson texted me like, hey man, like any updates? And I was like, oh freak, like I'm such a bad guy. But I told my mom, I said, dang, like I've been procrastinating this. And then I just said, like, kind of funny, I was like, if he would have paid me, I would have had it done by now. And so that's like, I said that. And this is, Jackson's not the first person to hit me up. Like I've had a lot asking me,
Right.
probably 5 or 6 before him. And so I was like, my mom said, we'll start charging people then. She's like, practice on him because, he's a homie. She's like, practice on him and then start charging people. And she's like, you don't have to charge people a lot at first. And so
Right.
she said that. And then I had been feeling like fitness was more my thing than I would have thought. And actually, in fact, when I first posted my first Instagram workout video, I asked my sisters, I was like, should I make a fitness page, like my own fitness page? And they were like, yeah, like if that's what you want to do. And I kind of had the thought like, no, and now this is like in June. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's probably what I want to do. Like, I don't want that to be my main thing. Anyways, so that's like completely changed now. And so I was talking to Riley. We were driving home that Sunday night after I had that conversation with my mom, and I was like, Riley, I think I've like actually found one of my things. Like everybody has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like things that they have to discover that they're really passionate about. And I really like the idea that Elder came to our mission, Bennett. I really like the idea Elder Bennett gave, even if you don't believe in it, it's still an awesome idea to like ponder that in the life before this,
Okay.
you liked things. You were an individual, so you studied things and practiced things. And LeBron James liked basketball, and he was always out there on the court. And so when he's born into this life, what's he good at? Basketball. And because some people, you're just like, how are they so naturally good at that? Like Hans Zimmer, um, he makes music for like movies, like all the most epic movies, Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight, like all those epic songs. It's like by this one random dude named Hans Zimmer. And it's like, how does he make all this music that's so beautiful? It's like, well, maybe in the pre-existence he loved music, and so it just comes naturally. And so I feel like you have to discover those things, and some people find them early on, like LeBron James. Some people it takes a while, sometimes 50, 60 years to find their thing. And so I feel
Well,
like,
have you seen the movie
oh,
Soul?
yes.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like that, where you
Yeah.
find your, is it the spark or whatever they say? Like
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
find your
Oh,
spark. Okay.
exactly. Yeah. That movie was weird, but it did
It was a
help
little
me.
weird,
But it
but
did. I
that
liked,
principle was kind of cool.
yeah, I liked how you could kind of think of it in terms like that. But yeah, so I feel like I haven't really found like the one thing. I feel like public speaking is one thing because it comes so easy for me, and I actually literally enjoy it. Like, and I enjoy it more. I enjoy it on a deep level, and I think that's where like the sparks, I guess you could call them, come, is like you enjoy it. It's deeper than just dopamine. You know, it's more like a spiritual enjoyment where it's, yeah, you feel the dopamine and the endorphins and the rush, you know, of public speaking, but there's something deeper. And so the more I've been really, really taking fitness super seriously, the more I've realized, like, okay, first off, I've loved doing this for like 6 years. I love teaching people about it. Anytime anybody asks me, like when we were camping with my family in July, my sister, she works out. She asked me about pressing, about like pressing dumbbells or barbells or whatever. And I went off for like 30 minutes about how if you're pressing with your shoulder, with your elbows flared, you're going to impinge your shoulder, and shoulder impingement is just like one of the tendons just rubbing up against the bone and the shoulder, and it can cause serious issues. And some people can't ever lift over their head because they hurt it so bad in the gym. And so I was telling her, and I was just like so passionate. And so when I was talking to Riley that car ride home on that Sunday night, of like, Riley, I think I found one of my things. Like, I think this is my thing. Like, I've been doing it so long, but I all of a sudden it just feels completely different. And so I told Riley that night, and then on Monday or Tuesday, so this is like, you know, a week and a half ago, my mother-in-law calls me, and I'm like the only one home, so I'm just like chilling. And then she like rarely calls me, so this is like no coincidence. So she calls me, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And it was just like something funny. She had gotten a ukulele and needed help tuning it, and so I like helped her tune it over the phone. And then um I just had this feeling to say to her, I was like, hey, yeah, by the way, like, I really think I want to get like serious about fitness. And I told her, I was like, I'm having all these dudes like reach out to me. And, you know, I was talking with my mom and Riley, and like, I was thinking like I could just start charging people. And she's like, yeah, totally. And then she said, you should just get your personal trainer certification, and then you could like really take it serious, you know? And I'm like,
Mhm. Is that what Elder Merrill was kind of
yeah,
doing?
so Elder
Okay.
Merrill just did that. So I messaged him. He's actually looking for a job right now to get, which should be pretty easy. There's so many gyms around here, and there's one of them's bound to be wanting another personal trainer. So I was like, why the freak have I not been thinking about this? Like, this is crazy how like it's like I've been so passionate about this thing, but I never thought it was going to be my thing, like for my whole life. And because, dude, my mind's all over the place. But there's this lecture by Jordan Peterson where he breaks down the Peter Pan story. And the cool thing about the old Disney movies is that they're not just shallow. They're very, very deep. They're archetypal. Like that's it. They're archetypes. So it's like scriptures are archetypal, where it's just like this. It's like Jesus's stories he told. You can just dissect them and unpack them forever. And it's like that's how these old Disney movies are. New Disney movies are freaking trash. It's like Frozen. Jordan Peterson, when he talks about Frozen, he's like, most of you have probably seen Frozen. And then he's like, it's a despicable movie. I hate it. And the reason he hates it is because it just has one ideological purpose, and their whole purpose of the movie is just to push this ideology that you don't need a man in your life and whatever. And he's like, that's just stupid how
I
it's
liked it because Elsa was really pretty.
dude, why are cartoons pretty? It's
I
because they make
don't.
their eyes big.
That's funny.
But anyways, Peter Pan in a nutshell. Peter Pan Pan means the god of everything, roughly. And so Peter Pan is this boy who never grows up, right? And because of that, he's 100% potential, because a child can be anything. And in order to grow up, you have to sacrifice all the things you could be and just pick one thing. And that's a really hard sacrifice to make. And so the Lost Boys are the boys who don't want to grow up because they don't want to give up all the potential for 1-2 things. They like being anything. But then Wendy comes into Peter Pan's life, and Peter Pan falls in love with Wendy and wants her to stay, but she starts to mature, and she's going to make the sacrifice of childhood to choose one thing. She wants to grow up. And his point is, when he tells the story, is that Peter Pan, here's the thing, no matter what, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. And so it's better if you choose the sacrifice instead of it being like forced upon you.
For you.
Yeah, or chosen for you, because you're going to be forced to grow up eventually. And so it's like, it's better just to choose your thing. And so I feel like when I listened to that lecture, and it's actually been made into a cool song. But when I listened to that, I was like, dude, I'm like, been like Peter Pan. Like, I've been sitting here so afraid to just pick one thing. And because it is kind of like, oh man, I have to give up. Like, I could be a college basketball player, or I could be whatever. I could be so many different things, but I have to just pick one and sacrifice all those. But I feel like really comfortable picking this thing as like one of my things. And so it's been a really like liberating feeling. And so I looked at I got people's advice. I looked at different organizations to get certified through. And so I'm just going through, like, I think it's like one of the most well-known certifiers in the whole country. And it's called the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And so I'm also going to get a nutritionist certification through it too, which is sick. So this is kind of, I just started this 2 days ago, so it's actually been really exciting. So it's just kind of at my own pace thing, and I'm trying to just burn through this so I can get a personal training job ASAP. And then, the dream is to open up my own gym. And it's sick because all the big general stuff that I want to do, coaching, helping, whatever, that's still all mine through this tool. And so I've started doing that. And so what I wanted to say, for people who are not going to college, you can still educate the crap out of yourself. And one thing you can do is get certified in things. And so there's tons of things that you can get certified in. You're certified in graphic design.
Yeah, like the Adobe suite.
Yeah.
And that's helped me get a lot of jobs that I wouldn't have.
That's hard. Like, yeah, like there's a reason people hire graphic designers, and it's because it's like, dude, if I sit down on Adobe and have to make like a simple graphic, it's going to take me like 8 hours messing around with it. But this dude could do it in like 10 minutes.
I don't know about it. I'm not the best. Like I feel like I was thinking about it today. I was like, I know enough to get by. I'm not not an expert. Like the girl at my job, they just hired this other girl, and she's like insane. Like, really? You can tell like that's all she's done with her life is just like
FA,
played on Illustrator.
Yeah, certified, and yeah, he does it.
There's like levels to it where it's like I'm like a fifth grader, but she's like a college, like that's what she went to college for. But
there's I like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you're probably like intermediate.
Yeah, I like what you're saying though, because it's like there's so many, like the technical colleges, like
there you go.
I think there's too. Like MA. It used to be MATC. I think there's like Davis Tech.
And then up in Brigham City and Logan, there's BATC Bridgerland.
Yeah, so like there's lots of these like places where you can go and get certified to be a chef, or you can go and do the Adobe stuff. You can go and be a nurse or CNA. I don't know, actually probably not nurse, probably CNA. But like there's just like there's all these certifications that you can do that bring value to yourself as a person, that you don't have to be going to a quote unquote normal school for. And I think it's exactly. Like it's a good middle ground, because it brings a sense of security to know like, all right, I'm setting myself apart from other people that, people will be able to recognize.
And it has the structure.
And it's not as expensive either. Like
Yeah.
it's like
And
compared
see,
to
and that's,
school.
yeah, and that's another point I always like to make to people is I think some people automatically might think maybe this kid doesn't want to go to college because of how much money. And it's like, no, that's not the thing, because I will always be willing to pay for education. For good education, I will pay, because you pay for what you value. And so it's not like this getting um, certified to be a personal trainer. It's not like it's just cheap. It's like I'm still gonna pay a lot of money for this, because, or like Riley's life coach school thing. By the way, she just took her test, like the final test to get
Oh,
certified.
really?
So I know she'll pass easy, but that's
That's
exciting.
exciting. I didn't
Yeah,
know,
so
but she's already done.
yeah, we're gonna celebrate. Like literally, she like I came in here to do the podcast, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna start the test." So that's crazy. Like time goes by fast. That's already been 6 months since she started. But see, she just got certified in that, and we paid a lot of money for that, and she's put a lot of time into that and a lot of energy into that. But it was just something it was very precise and focused, and it's like, here, this is your education, and she's gotten an amazing education from it in 6 months.
Right.
She's learned a freak ton. So that's another thing. I feel like the way that the colleges for most things, I'm leaving out medicine, because that does take a freak long time to learn, right? Especially like for surgeons or for things like
Would you
that.
add lawyers into that too?
Lawyers, I would, but I still think they go to school for too long.
Okay.
Because how long do they go to school? They go for 4
I feel like
years,
it's
and then they go
a
for
long time.
2 more, I think, maybe, or
I
maybe
thought
even
it was
4
more like
more.
eight.
I think
Yeah,
I
eight
think it's
years.
8 to get all together. And so it's like, bro, you don't need that much time. Like you could go for 4, or you could go for, if you had a really good teacher and all you were learning about was law, and you went for 2 years and
You
then
didn't have to do
got,
generals and
no, yeah, if you just went for 2 years, got focused, got into the profession and started practicing, you're still going to learn.
right.
Education never stops, ever. And there's always going to be new techniques and new laws and new this and new that you're always going to be continuing to learn. But dude, you would be fine. You would be solid. You'd be a great lawyer. You don't need to be sitting in there for 8 years. But it's like, okay, to cut someone's chest open and to take their heart out and to plug a new plastic valve in there and put it back. It's like, okay, yeah, buddy, you go and get
Just
that
this doctor that went for
down
2 years. He's
pat.
like,
Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I had a dream about this once.
I mean, President Nelson could probably do that. He just is
He
like,
just follows the outlines
yeah,
of
he
the
just
spirit that
follows.
draws
He's
for him.
like, all right, Heavenly Father, help me out here. And then
Like, please put the dotted lines on there. Oh, there
the
they are.
suture. Oh, okay. The people are like, where are you cutting? He's like, you don't see that?
You don't see that dotted line there? They're all numbered. Like that's one says 1. I'm supposed to cut that one first. But anyways, so it's like I just feel like the way that they're teaching people, they're just dragging it out for too long,
Right.
because you can learn really fast, and humans are capable of learning very quickly. But again, time is necessary, and you're always going to learn more over time. But still, I think you can learn very quickly, faster than you think, especially
Right.
if you're applying stuff. So that's like the point. It's like if you're out applying stuff, like if you're learning how to be a plumber and you're going to your technical college, and if you're doing that, you'll also be able to be an apprentice to a plumber. And so you're going out to work with this guy, dude, you're going to learn so freaking fast, and you're going to be a master at it. You're going to be a good plumber or whatever, a good mechanic or a good chef. You can go get, you know, you can go learn how to be a chef at technical colleges. It's like, these are cool things. And so that was one thing I wanted to bring up, is like, you can still get certified in a lot of things, and almost everything nowadays is online. So I can just sit
You
here
just do
at
it from
home and
home.
get certified to be a personal trainer. And then I can go to Vasa or to EOS or to a private owned gym and be like, hey, I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm looking for a job. Are you guys hiring personal trainers? They're like, oh, let me see your certification. Yeah, man. Like, you're good. And so I'm really, really excited about this. But that's one thing. And then another thing, it's like, this is more for like this hyper entrepreneurial minded people. Like, I'm entrepreneurial minded, but I feel like some people are like so entrepreneurial minded. Like they just want to go out and make a brand new product and like that type, like an Elon Musk, just like inventor. I'm going to come up with the best next thing and sell the crap out of it and build a giant empire. Like some people are like that. You can do that nowadays.
Right.
It's like, that's the thing, man. I mean, people did that back in the day, but it was really rare. It's less rare now to be able to blow up because one, social media, YouTube, you can get your name out there so much easier. And then just with networking with people, like I said, like you never know, like you just never know who you're going to bump into. And it's like you could bump into a Instagram influencer who takes a liking to you, and then you guys become homies, and then you become his right hand man and you're making tons of money with him or whatever. You just never know. And so but I do think continuing to educate yourself if you're not going to college is like key, because that's what I tell people. I'm like, hey, by the way, like just because I'm not going to a university does not mean I'm not getting educated. Do you see all these freaking books? Me and Riley have to, literally, I'm not joking, have to buy another freaking shelf because we just ran out of space. Like this book, Riley just bought this book today. Can't even put it anywhere, man. And it's like, guys, I'm still getting educated. Is it harder sometimes to not have that structure? Yes. And so what I can do for myself is build my own structure. So one thing I've started practicing, I think I talked about it a couple podcasts ago, is like, I don't want to be reading just any nonfiction book just for fun. Like if I'm going to be reading a nonfiction book, I want it to be something that I'm currently studying and that I'm going to apply. So like right now I'm going to be reading a lot of fitness books, a lot of nutrition books. Because some of these nonfiction books I've read, and it's like I've retained like 1% to 2% of it, and it's like, dang. But if I would have read it and then applied it for like an essay or something I was studying or for a public speech, I would have remembered. Like it would have stuck like glue. And so, anyways, one thing that can help with that is essays. Learning how to write essays. That I'm learning right now. I can't write a freaking good essay, but I'm learning.
It's hard.
It's so hard. But Jordan Peterson has this whole essay thing, and he's actually going to be coming out with a software that guides you through how to write an essay, because you have to learn how to write because it's a form of thinking, and it's actually one of the best ways of thinking, because when you try to think in your head, it gets all messy, but on a piece of paper you can organize it. And so one thing you could do is like, okay, say I'm not going to college, but I want to be oh, by the way, you could be like a therapist nowadays, man. It's 2021. You don't have to go get a degree. Like you can seriously make huge differences in people's lives, psychologically, spiritually.
Like what Riley is doing is just as impactful as probably any therapist.
Exactly.
And she's going to school for 6 months, and they're going to school for
that's
years.
Another one, probably 8 years, 6. I don't know.
I mean,
if psychiatrists, for sure,
they're probably going to know more about how your brain actually works and like the specifics of that. Yeah. But
it's like,
do patients care about that? Not really.
First off,
unless you're
really
prescribing medication, then it's like you don't really.
Yeah, like psychiatrists, yeah, go, because you're going to be prescribing, like you're messing with chemicals and brains. Like, yeah, but yeah, and then you can learn about all that stuff now. And so it's like, get a hard book. Like I have some books up here that I haven't read yet because they're like kind of scary. I have Jordan Peterson's where the heck is it? Maps of Meaning. And that book, dude, is like skill level 1,000,000. So I haven't read it yet, because I don't want to read it yet because it's all about psychology, and if I read it right now, I wouldn't retain any of it because I'm not using any of it. But what you can do is you can guide yourself through, and kind of just how your professor or your teacher would create structure, just do that for yourself. And so one thing you could do is be like, make deadlines for yourselves and things like that. So it's not like going out of, like I said before, not going to university doesn't mean you just get a free pass to do whatever you want. You still have to maintain a disciplined life if you want to get somewhere. So like if you have a book, a nonfiction book that you're reading about something really specific, then you can get it and be like, okay, every day I'm going to read X amount of pages or X amount of chapters or X amount of paragraphs. And I have to write, after I read, I have to write 100 words summarizing what I just read, or whatever works best for you. Or some people, maybe it would be better for them to like set their phone up after and record themselves talking like, okay, here's what I learned today. That actually works good for me. And that's something I want to start doing, is like, because sometimes writing, but some people like writing. So anyways, learning how to create your own structure, your own homework, in a way, your own
Right.
assignments, your own deadlines. Like there's a reason those things are a thing. It's because they work for humans, because without them, the odds that we get any work done just dramatically decrease. So it's like, okay, if we want to have the best odds of actually reading and retaining what's in this book, then I need to create some structure for myself, because I like to treat, fiction books, that's entertainment. Read them whenever, read them wherever. But nonfiction books, I do the best if I have a structure. I'm like, okay, I'm going to read 12 Rules for Life. That's a really deep book. It's not just one that you just sit at your bedside and read. That needs to be one. One thing that helps me is if I sit at a desk. Like Riley and I bought a little desk, just because like when you're sitting at a desk, it's like, it's on, man. Like we're
You
studying.
feel like you're at school. Like
Yeah,
you're like, I'm
exactly.
at my desk, I'm studying.
Yeah, I'm studying, I'm reading. I'm not just reading this book for pure leisure. I'm reading this book for education. And then another thing, podcasts are my life, dude. I listen to podcasts like crazy. Like it's ridiculous. And so the same thing with podcasts with books. I like to listen to, sometimes I just listen to them to have them on, but I really try to listen to ones that's about topics that I'm learning right now. And so like Joe Rogan cusses a lot. So if you hate that, then don't listen to him. But he'll have a lot of guests on that are highly specialized in one thing. So he'll have PhDs, MDs, he'll have authors, he'll have just these people who are hyper specialized in a certain field, and he'll have them on, and then he'll just let them talk for 2 to 3 hours. And you just learn an incredible amount. And what's cool is then you can go read that person's books or listen to their videos, and you can really start to get a good education this way. And then it's like, I think people think that the degree on the wall, the degree on the wall is just a symbol of competence. It's like if I walk into, for example, these kids at my former employer, Tukio's, they went to school for sales, right? So they did 4 years of freaking college for sales, which God bless their souls. I would never do that.
That'd
When
be
you can
tough.
just go read books and talk to your sales manager and learn.
Or
But
just go out and do sales and
just go
learn.
do sales. But anyways, this one kid got promoted at our sales, from my sales team. He got promoted to like the closers, like the dudes who are actually closing the deals and actually building relationships. My job sucked. It was just like cold calling, trying to set appointments is absolute trash. Like, but that job, you get to actually build relationships with people and close deals, and it's a little bit more fulfilling. Anyway, still wouldn't want it, but he got promoted to that. And one of my work buddies was a little bit upset, mostly because his numbers were like always better than this kid's, like always. But here were the two differences. The kid who got promoted had been at Tukio's for 3 months longer, and he had just barely graduated college with his sales degree. And so to the guy who promoted him to his team, he was thinking, oh well, so and so, he's been here for 3 months longer than my buddy, like my buddy, and he has a sales degree, so he'll make a good, and he is a good salesman, and he'll make a
Right.
good addition to the team. I'm not taking away from that, but I'm just, the reason I tell the story is because my point is people are conditioned to just look at the degree.
And I think it also shows, like, one of the things I've always been taught is that it shows people that you can do hard things. Like you can discipline yourself and you can go to work, you can complete hard things, because getting a degree is an easy
Oh
task.
heck
Like
no,
it takes a lot of time.
a lot of time.
And so, like you said, it's a sign of competence that you can do something hard. And so I
Yeah,
think as an
yeah,
employer, if you're just looking strictly like this person doesn't have a degree, this person does, all right, this person can discipline themselves. So it does set yourself apart a little bit in that sense,
for
but that's
sure,
where
for sure.
certifications and stuff like that can come, and
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
as well.
Well, experience, and that's what I was gonna say is like, dude, experience. By, you look at people's actions, and and a lot of people don't want to. The culture's changing really slowly, but a lot of business owners nowadays don't look to see if you went to college anymore. A
Mhm.
lot of business owners, mostly people who are a little bit more progressive, are the way trends happen. By the way, this is how it happens. Somebody comes up with an idea to do something, right? So let's say like apple bottom jeans, right? So you have these like ugly, yeah, these ugly jeans. Some homie wore those jeans because she liked them, right? She's like, these jeans are sick. And then her friend was like, oh, those are kind of sick. I want some. And so this is how trends happen. People start, it starts really slow with a very tiny minority of people, and then it starts to spread slowly and slowly and slowly. And then when the scales tip, so when 51% of people are doing such and such thing or thinking such and such thing, then all of a sudden it's like boom, giant trend. And it happened. So it feels like stuff comes out of nowhere. So like celery juice, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were on our mission, so we didn't really see it. But now that I've studied celery juice a little bit, I saw that it like absolutely blew up in America, like this trend. So, but everyone's like, where's this trend coming from? This is coming out of nowhere. But it's
Or
like,
even like
no,
TikTok or Instagram
yeah,
stuff. You're just
yeah.
like, who even comes up with this stuff? Like,
It's like this stuff. So Mr. Beast, for example, Mr. Beast has been on YouTube for years and years and years. He's been playing Minecraft on YouTube forever, and he was averaging like 100 views for a long time, and he was just nothing. And he used to joke about how it'd be cool if I was a big YouTuber and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Beast is huge and everyone knows who he is, but it's like, where did this guy come from? Like he came out of nowhere, and it's like, no, he didn't come out of nowhere. He's been doing this for freaking ever. And finally the scales tipped and he blew up. And this is how it happens. And I actually could go into more depth with the way I believe. I believe it's like collective consciousness. And I think that once the collective consciousness flips, then everything takes off. And so, but that's kind of been the thing with college, is that the collective consciousness for years has been you go to college. And so it's really hard to not,
to switch.
yeah, to switch it, but it's starting to switch slowly. And so now you're having the more progressive business owners, the people who are more willing to try new things and who are a little bit more liberal with things. They're stopping, they're stopping looking at people's education. They want to know, what are your skills? Let me come get to know you. Let's go to lunch. Like, are you blah 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 blah. I want
Like my dad was telling me, he was like, because I was trying to pick what my degree would be in, and I was like, oh, communications would be cool. He's like, if I saw a communications degree, that's worthless to me. And he's like, he's hiring sales and stuff like that. Like obviously, like it's better than nothing, but it's just, I
yeah,
just thought that was interesting. Like, some people like in the hiring process, like certain degrees that you have are going to be worthless to them. Like it doesn't
yeah,
matter. He's like, you might as well just not go to, sorry to anyone that has a communications degree, but he was just like, it's pointless. Like you'll
yeah.
learn anyway. So I just thought like that was interesting. But then another thing was, so I again, like it's kind of cool. We're both like starting like kind of new job opportunities a little bit. Like I feel like it's just like kind of interesting. But like I'm working in the Dixie State athletic department just like a couple hours a day. And I remember when I was like going through the hiring process, I told him, I said, I value experience over education because I believe experience leads to quicker education than
Yeah,
it is.
facts.
And I took my very first semester at Dixie State, took a sports management class. It was like the worst experience ever. I was like, this is stupid. It really just turned me off to like ever wanting to be an athletic, department. It was just a terrible experience. And I didn't learn like really anything. And so then this opportunity came around. I was pretty hesitant because I was like, that was a crappy experience. It's probably going to be the same. But now going
Mm-hmm.
into it, and I'm not even really like, I'm in the development department that works with athletics. And so we're like fundraising and stuff in it. And, there's things about it that I don't necessarily love. But it's like I've learned more about this, like how the athletic department works, what goes into it, what you actually need, what you don't need, than I did that whole semester in that one class. And guess what? They
Mm,
want you to take 20 more different classes like that. And I'm like,
yeah.
it's just crazy to be like, why can't we just have a certification process? Like you just go through, you work in the department, learn how it goes, and then you're good to go. That's your degree. Cause it's just like, to me, I'm like, this is so much better than school. It's just like
Yeah.
crazy. And like it's cool because people are starting to catch on to that. Like there's like on Mondays we have a meeting with the head football coach, and people can come pay to listen and have them break down film and stuff. It's a cool thing. It's a bunch of like rich people that come and support him. I remember like my boss was introducing me to people. They're like, oh, who are you? Like, did you graduate college already? And I'm like, I'm still an academic freshman. They're like, what? And my boss was just like, yeah, he values opportunity over education right now. And it was just like kind of cool to them be like, oh, like you're in this pretty prestigious, like it, there's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
lot of people in this position. Like it's just, it's not very, and you're a freshman, you
Yeah.
haven't even finished a year of school. And so it's like, it's interesting to kind of start to see the paradigm shift of people supporting that and being able to kind of help you out. And obviously, to progress further, you might need a degree, but it's just like kind of cool to like see the mindset shift change a little bit. Cause like, how cool it'd be if we could get to the point where you could have, certain jobs that have needed degrees for forever, but you get to the point where you're certified or you have enough experience to just be able to kind of skip
Mm-hmm.
past that. And it
Mm-hmm.
kind of excites me and makes me not want to go to school so that I can be like a trailblazer. Go Trailblazers.
Yeah.
But to like uh, be one of those people that does that, like you were saying, like be able to just go and be a physical trainer, or not a physical trainer, personal trainer. It starts with a, both start with a P.
I know it's kind of
Um,
confusing.
but like to be able to go and do that and to be able to just, I just want to prove people wrong.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
need to do it.
Exactly. And like so there's just so much opportunity out there and it can be scary for sure. I mean, it's even scary when you're in school. And another thing is just like for some people this works well. Like for my dad, being an employee his whole life has suited his personality type like really well. Like he doesn't want it any other way. He likes it. Um, but me and my little brother Mason were very entrepreneurial minded, and like we just can't do it. Like we talk about every time we're with each other, we talk about ways we could get rich and how we don't like being employees and whatever. And um, it's been cool for me to look at my dad and be like, that's cool. See that I think it's really easy for people to start thinking in terms of good and bad with life. And there's a very, very, very small percentage of things that are actually good or actually bad, like explicitly. Like most stuff just is, right? Like social media. You can't say social media is bad because it's just a thing that can be used for good or bad. Or it's like
Even
opioids, dude.
exercising,
It's like,
even
oh yeah, it was like
like,
opioids. Like think about it, it's a plant, right? And you grow this poppy seed plant, it's beautiful, and you can make yummy baked goods out of it, but you can also make heroin out of it, but you can also make morphine out of it. And it's like, oh, morphine has been so great, but we've also gotten a giant generation of people addicted to Oxycontin and to morphine. So it's like, see, nothing's good or bad. It just is.
right.
And different things can emerge from it. And so it's like, I'm not saying school is good and I'm not saying school is bad either. I'm just saying it is something that you can do. Certifications are also something you can do. Um, or you can just go
Experience
be,
internships is something you can do. It's not like the only way to do it. And I like how you said like there's kind of a path for everyone. And you can see
mm-hmm,
people that when they're in the path that maybe doesn't suit them super well. Like me and my dad were talking last night. He's like, man, like, because it like just my buddy that I was talking to about the mortgage stuff, he's making good money at 22,
yeah,
23
go be a
years
real
old.
estate agent. You don't have to go to school for
Yeah.
that. Look at
And
those
he's just
homies.
like, how cool is it that he's able to do something that he's passionate about, do it for himself and already kind of be set. You can tell like there's just some people that they just want like that lifestyle and it fits them really good. And then some people they burn out, they start a small business, doesn't work out, and they go back to being an employer because that works better for them. So like you're saying, we're not like there's not a we're not saying people that don't want to have small business or entrepreneur kind of mindsets. That's every we need employees, we need people to work at
Oh,
McDonald's, we need people. I
for
had that
sure.
realization yesterday. Like I was at UPS and I was like, because like I ship my shoes out from UPS. I'm like I that's a quote unquote business that I have on the side that I need someone at UPS to work there for that to happen. So it's just like
Oh,
there's a need for everyone.
dude, I think about it all the time. I can't stop thinking about how, because to me, I'm like, I can't be a freaking employee for my whole life. But then I look at how I'm like, but I'm glad people are
Someone
willing to
else.
be because we need them. Like, there's so much construction going on around. Layton's blowing up right now. I guess all of Utah is. It's not like it's just here. Like all of Utah's blowing up right now. Construction is crazy. There's tons of road work and there's tons of apartments being built around Riley and I right now. And I'm like, we need these guys. And then I walk into Target and some dude rolls a cart to me and he just wiped it off and that's his job. And he's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, good, man. And I'm like, that's his job. And I need him to do that. And I need the cashier and I need the people at Barnes and Noble that like get my book checked out. And I need the mechanic to put oil in my car, just like on and on. I need the gas
someone to
station lady
clean
to be
the
there.
bathroom at the gas station. Like,
Yeah.
that's disgusting
And
sometimes.
so it's like we need employees. And so that's the beautiful thing about different personality types is some people would rather just be the homie who keeps his head down and stocks the shelves all day. People want to do that. Like I was thinking about applying for Amazon, the Amazon warehouse, because I just need a job for like 1 to 3 months. They pay starting for this one position was like
work.
Yeah. And so I'm not gonna, it's 40 minutes away from my house.
Okay,
So
I was gonna talk you out of it if you were gonna do it. I was
I'm
gonna
not
say
gonna
that would be. Anyways.
And by the way, their shifts are like they like ask you.
Yeah, it's like,
they're like you have to stay for 10 hours, and I'm like no. But anyways, I was reading this one dude on YouTube had worked there for a while, and he didn't hate or didn't love Amazon. He's just like, yeah, I worked here and here's my experience for anyone who's curious. And I had like hundreds of thousands of views. I was like, interesting. Like a lot
I
of
feel
people
like I get an email every other day saying Amazon's hiring just somehow in my inbox.
They're trying to take over the world, bro. I swear, Jeff Bezos.
I'm like, how'd you even get my email? How do you?
They're seriously taking over the world, but I love them, but I hate them. It's so weird.
Right.
But anyways, he was like, I was reading all the comments and like all the comments were like, I've worked at Amazon for 8 months now. I love it so much. It's the perfect job for me. Next comment, I'm such an introvert. This job has been so good for me just to do the same thing all day. And so I'm like, people like this.
That's
I would lose my mind
or whatever.
Yeah, dude, I would lose my mind. But it's like, oh my gosh, dude, I got an Amazon package today. Like I need those people standing on their feet for 10 hours, putting tape on a box. Like I need those people.
And I think it brings meaning when you think about that. Even if it doesn't feel meaningful, it can bring meaning to any job because you're like, I'm playing a role in society that needs to be played right now.
Yeah.
And like my brother's working at Lowe's, like stocking, like making the displays or whatever. And it's that's something like
I applied
need
there.
That. Really?
Yeah. So I haven't heard back yet, but
Maybe
they needed the cashier.
You on the inside track. I don't know. But it's just like it just brings meaning into maybe meaningless jobs because you're like, I'm playing a role that needs to be played. And I think like if I would have understood that in high school, it would have made my jobs like so much more enjoyable. Weeding the yard or like for you Burger King or my golf cart.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, picking up the golf balls. And would you drive a little thing and just like sucks them up?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Awesome.
But it's like those people appreciate you because if no one picks the golf balls up,
they'd have to go pick them up themselves.
And then people would be getting hit with golf balls and stuff. It's like, see, all these little jobs, like we need them. So I'm really grateful people are willing to do that. But it's like for me, but we also need the entrepreneurs, right? We need the Elon Musk.
Someone needs to be running the company. Someone needs to be
coming up with the ideas, Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, you just can't get into this mindset of black and white or like right and wrong and good and bad. And it's like, no, most things just are, if we're talking like spiritual, there's good and bad and there's good and evil, but I'm talking about just life. It's like things just exist. They just exist and they're just tools. It's like with like caffeine, for example. Caffeine's not good or bad. It just is a thing and you can use it in different ways. And you can use it in ways that affect you differently. And so it's like, I just think about this. I've been thinking about this idea so much. And then I also had this like really, this is so random. I don't even know why I'm going to say this, but I had this really deep realization last night that it was a really, really, really deep spiritual feeling. It wasn't like an epiphany in my brain. It was like, so time out. You got like 3 brains. You got your gut, heart, and your brain. And there's actually neurons in each one of those things. And your heart has the biggest electromagnetic field out of any organ in your body. It even creates a bigger one than your brain, which is just insane. It can stretch up to 3 meters long is what they've. And so that means like if you're within 10 feet of somebody and they're having a really, and they're full of a lot of love and their heart is just activated, you could feel their energy from that far away. It's mind blowing. They can get this, they can use scientific tools to measure this now. But anyways, I had this really, 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 really deep feeling last night, and I actually forgot about it until just now, and I think that's why I want to share it with you. But I had this like crazy deep feeling out of nowhere last night, filled my whole body, and it was like a spiritual feeling, like comfort, peace. And I just had all these images flash into my head of like the Taliban, what's going on in Afghanistan. And now that I'm thinking about it in hindsight, also I'm thinking about like North Korea, and then also just stuff that's happening in our own country, and just in the world, all the bad. And the the feeling I felt, there was no words, but the words that I would use to describe the feeling is everything that's happening in the world right now is supposed to be happening. And I just sat there for a little bit, just where, first off, where the heck did this come from? And it was brief, but it was deep. It was like out of my heart, it just grew into my body, and I felt safe. It's hard to feel safe in a world like this,
Right.
where you could die any minute. I mean, you could die in such stupid ways, you know. It's like
I'm going to some of my students' soccer game tonight. I could, you could die in a car accident. You could die.
yeah,
A
you just
bomb
don't
could be
know.
dropped on your house. We're
Yeah,
probably giving
dude.
people with anxiety more anxiety. We're just like,
Yeah, like
don't go outside. Just
Pearl Harbor, those homies thought it was just the American planes practicing, and then like you don't know. And so I just had this really, really, really spiritual experience that it was just like everything. And does that mean I sit back and do nothing? No.
right.
But it does mean that, one, I accept what's going on in the world, because if you're resisting it, then your life is going to suck. If you're resisting that people kill each other and that people rape other people and that people are just bad people, if you're resisting the fact that there's bad people on this planet, then I am very sorry for you, because you're going to feel frustrated a lot because you can't change these people. And so it's like the faster you can just accept what's going on in the world, and then just trust that there's some deep meaning to it, which you and I both do. Like we trust that, one, I trust so hard that everything is going to be made right.
I mean, that's what we were
I
talking about
have
before we
to
got
believe that.
on.
I have to
Was
believe that.
there's so many bad things that happen that, like, obviously God doesn't like make them happen, but he's going to make the best out of those scenarios, like whatever that might be for individuals, for the world, for us personally. Like if we're going through a tough time, it doesn't necessarily mean God made it happen, but he's going to make the best of that situation. And it's like it blows my mind every single time how that happens. And it's just like it brings you a weird sense of peace and comfort when you probably shouldn't be feeling that. Like what you're saying, like that
Yeah, that's
resonated
what,
with
it's
that.
so
You're like, why would I
paradoxical.
feel
I'm like,
peace
I'm
about
seeing all these images in my mind. That's like, you know, some Middle Eastern man who's part of the Taliban, and you can just see his eyes, and he's just beating a an innocent woman down with the butt of his gun, and he's shot the father already in the head. And I see this image in my mind, and it's just like this peaceful feeling of like, this is supposed to happen. It's okay. And it's like, really? What? And I just feel like I just like everything's going to be made right, dude. And I just really, really cling to that belief, because I see just how messed up this world is. And I'm like, okay, well, if one person can make it right, I believe it's Jesus. And if he says he's going to do it, then I believe him. And so I believe that. And then it just helps so much, because when I'm sitting at the St. George Park and I see the dudes catch the little duck, and I'm like so sad for the little duck in the box, but I'm like, that little duck, like everything's going to be made right. If you want to look at a kind of a comical way, it's like God's going to get his revenge on those two little
right.
boys, for like the ducks, just like revenge is
Or
God.
maybe
So
that was the moment that those boys needed to realize that they were going down the wrong path. Like it's just like we
yeah,
never know why things happen. We just have to trust. Like I've been having this conversation like with everyone I talk to, but it's like I've been doing a lot of like question, like I mean that's just part of being a seminary teacher, is the students ask you questions. And a lot of the times they're like, well, why does God allow people to deal with struggling with opposite sex attraction. No, same sex attraction.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
wait, dude. Wait, when you
No.
said that, I was like, yeah, wait.
Anyways, why does like God allow, people to struggle with same sex attraction, or why does, why can't women have the priesthood, or why is my dad, cheat on my mom? Just like these unanswerable questions. And I've just been kind of formulating in my mind, there's not an answer for them. Like there's just some of these questions that we have, things going on in the world, we don't know
Well,
why.
think about this. Why would I've been thinking about abortion lately. By the way, I didn't even read anything about the Texas thing. Like I seriously,
I
when
don't
I say
really
when I
know
say
that
that I've
much
been
about
like staying out of politics, I seriously have. But
I don't
to
even
me,
know.
abortion's not political. I would never politicize something like that. I think that's so ridiculous. I think all of politics is ridiculous. So I'm not coming at this from a political angle. I never would. Sometimes I would do that. And if I was coming at something from a political angle, I would tell you guys, Anderson and Lindhardt Nation, I would tell you, hey, I'm coming at this from my conservative view or my left view. No, this is purely out of like just
Personal belief.
Like, think about this. I think if you kind of want to visualize it in a easy to grasp way, God's up there, it's pre-existence, and he's like, all right, you're going to go down to earth. Are you ready? You've been preparing for this. You're going to go live a life. Boom, they go down there, they get aborted. And that's like happening every single day. There's thousands of abortions worldwide every day. There's just tons. It's crazy. And so it's like, okay, well, all these little babies, all these spirits, these humans who chose to come live here, they chose to come have this physical experience. They're not even lasting. Like they don't even get to be in their own body. They're still attached to their mother's body when they're killed. And so it's like, that's freaking sucks for them. But then at the same time, I have that more spiritual voice come inside me and say, that was supposed to happen for them. It's like, what,
God
how?
makes the
Like,
best of that situation. They like automatically go to heaven, they get their body. Like that's like, honestly,
and
like
it's
that
like,
kind
we
of
don't,
sounds good.
yeah. And we
Like,
don't know them. And they're probably, I, I hesitate to say this because I don't want people to think that I'm saying like abortion's cool, because I really don't believe that at all.
right.
Like
But
at all. Like I'm
we're
very
trying to
adamant about
show
it.
that God makes the best of
Yeah,
every
because you
situation.
might, that person, maybe that's exactly what they needed for their spiritual and physical growth. And maybe they get up there and they're like, man, I'm actually like glad I didn't have to go through all that. Like I see
Or
my,
maybe they knew that they couldn't go through
or
that. They
maybe they
would have
knew,
not been successful.
because who knows? We often say this. A lot of people believe that God showed you your life and you still chose to do it. A lot of people have that belief. Maybe they knew. So we just don't know. You just don't know. And so none of this means that we just sit back and do nothing. But what it does mean is that we just accept, we come at life from a place of acceptance. So it's like, okay, I completely accept what's going on in the world, and I'm just going to do as much as I can to help. And that starts with you cleaning your own house, which is you clean yourself up,
Right.
clean your room, as Jordan Peterson would say.
Mote out of your own eye.
Yeah. And then move on to your family and your inner circle and your clients. If you're like, for me, I'll be a personal trainer. It's like, I'll have my clients and like, I'll move on to them. So it's like, but if everyone just stays in their little community, if everyone does that, the world's healed in a night. But if everyone thinks, oh, I have to start from the world, I have to save everybody. It's like, dude, if you would
go
just
stop the Taliban myself.
Yeah, it's like, dude, if you would just work on yourself and your family, and everyone does that, boom, the world's healed in a night. Boom, overnight, everyone wakes up, everyone's happy. But it's like, obviously that's not going to happen until Christ comes back, and it's going to be a process. But anyways, man, these are just some of like this deep spiritual thoughts I've been having lately that I haven't had an opportunity to share with anybody yet.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I've been having, very, very similar ones where it's like finding peace in situations that you might not feel like you should be feeling peace, or maybe not even peace, just like acceptance, when you
Yeah,
feel
that's a
like you
good.
shouldn't necessarily be accepting it. And I think like, a call to action would to be to like try and find some way to figure out how to find that acceptance, whether that's through spiritual means, whether that's through meditation, whether
Yeah.
that's through exercising. Like I know you would agree, like exercising just is it's a form of meditation. It's almost like a form of prayer. You're thinking, you're getting anger out, you're getting stress out, you're getting
It's a
relief
spiritual
out.
experience for me. Like that was my Instagram post about it. I was like, this is spiritual to me, period. Like it is. Dude, my legs are so sore. But it's like, it's not like I go into the gym and I'm going through my leg workout, and it's so much deeper than just some vain thing. I want to have nice legs or a nice body. It's like, no,
Right.
no. That's not what this is, man. This is like really, really deep. And this is an emotional experience and a spiritual experience. And I channel my anger into this and my anxiety into this, and I release it, and I release my stress through this. And it's like, this is deep stuff, man. And so, yeah, I like that call to action. Just prayer, meditation, exercise,
Other people, conversations like
journaling, yeah,
this, like
talking, just learn to just accept what's going on. And when you come at life from an energy of acceptance, it's a very clean energy, and you're actually going to be able to accomplish a lot more versus coming at it from like this place of resistance. Because when you're resisting, then you're frustrated, and what comes with frustration is resentment and anger. And how are you going to fix the world with resentment and anger? That's what's destroying it. It's like, no, you need to fix this with love and acceptance. That's how you fix it. Not, you don't fix it. It's like the whole Black Lives Matter movement pissed me off so bad, because I was like, they're resentful. They're pure. This is pure resentment being acted out on the streets. Like all these, when I saw the
it's a
riots,
call for love through hate, which
yeah, I
doesn't
was like,
work.
you're trying to fight hate with hate. That's not going to work. And then they're like, it's justified because we had, it's not justified, dude. And you're not going to get anywhere with it. So good luck. Have fun. But it's like, see, that was meant to happen. COVID was meant to happen.
Right.
Masks being politicized was meant to happen. It's like all this crap was meant to happen. By the way, dude, I saw this study where this mother got her little kids' masks tested, bro, like in a lab, and because she wanted to know what was on them, because the kids are wearing them all the time. And
Like
I just
just the normal medical ones, that
they
like the
had their
blue
own they
ones.
had their own little cloth ones that,
Okay.
she bought some cute ones from Old Navy or something. And
That's the dumbest thing because it's just going to be
dude, oh
disgusting.
bro, I just wear a new mask every time, because I
Yeah.
like never wear masks. So if I have to, I just like get a brand new one. Like I have like 10 brand new ones that I just keep at our house, and
I,
they're all Ziploc, they're clean. And once I wear it, I throw it away. And that's what they were made for. But dude, it had like food poisoning on there. Dude, the flu, like I said, I skimmed through it, but it had like 6 or 7 different really bad compounds on it, like food poisoning, dude, and E. coli. And
I saw
um
this study from like the
so funny.
1911 Spanish flu or what. I can't, maybe it wasn't, maybe that was the
I think
1919
I
one.
think you're right.
Anyways, but like they started mandating masks back then,
Mhm.
was, or like they were wearing face coverings or whatever, and they found out that like most of the people from that disease passed away because it attacked your respiratory system, and they were getting those diseases because of the face coverings. And
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like, it's just so
It's so
stupid
much
when you did
cleaner
that.
just to go
Yeah.
out there, breathe through your nose, keep a strong immune system. When you get COVID, do what I did and just stay home and let your body fight it off, and
Yeah.
then you'll be good. And I've never felt better in my life. And now
Heck
I
yeah.
have the antibodies, so I'm chilling. So it's like,
Living the
dude,
life.
it's like, I thought that was funny. That I was like, freaking ideologues where you think it has to be right or wrong. See, that's the thing about masks too. Am I saying they're good or bad? No. Am I saying they're right or wrong? No. I'm just saying it is a thing that you
I'm saying
can
they're
do.
wrong. I'm
I am,
saying
I
that.
am
No, I'm
saying they're
just
wrong
kidding.
for children. I think that's stupid for children.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing about politics, is that people will get into. We could talk about politics one episode just from like a bystander point of view. I'm not saying get political, but talk about politics, like parties, because people on the right will look at people on the left and think that they're just like evil, dude. They straight up think they're evil. And then people on the left will look at people on the right and think they're evil. Like, I'm like, guys,
I
there's
mean,
evil people in this world, but
I find myself in that thought process.
it's
Like, I
easy to
think
get
everyone
into.
does that. Like,
It's so
someone
easy.
opposes your views, they're stupid. You
Yeah.
know, like,
But when you start coming at it from a psychological point of view, you just realize that um, the way people lean politically has almost everything to do with, one, the way they were raised, and two, their innate personality types. So somebody like me, my personality types actually kind of split me politically because I'm very open, which is very left, and really open people tend to be very
Right.
progressive. But I'm also, um, I'm very, I have some conservative aspects to my personality that I resonate with a lot of stuff on the right. So for me, I kind of feel almost torn, and it's like that's why you don't. But people will just pick a side, and it's like, guys, it's not like it's not us against them. We're one country, and the point of democracy is just so that the people can all come together and we can talk about things, and you see world through your lenses and I see them through mine, and we can share our points of views and say, oh, maybe it's like brother Wilkins, Ryan Wilkins, like he's doing that. He's
Yeah.
challenging people's belief systems, and he's just saying, look, here's another way you could look at it. What do you think about it? And then you can really develop what you actually believe by doing that versus just believing what you've always believed because that's what you've always believed and that's what you've always been taught. But it's like, no, if you actually challenge them and challenge them carefully, because some people challenge their belief systems and then they do what elder who did, and they go off the deep end and they're crazy. And it's like, whoa, 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 challenge them carefully.
Yeah.
Don't go dive into a deep book of anti, you know, like some kids will do that. They'll be like, okay, well, I just don't know about this.
I want
So
to figure everything out. I'm gonna find the answers to everything. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, they're, mowing the lawn in their temple clothes, tie-dyed, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like what in the world is going on? I tell you, one of the missionaries from our mission, his uncle did that. Like he was like one of the like anti people. He was one of the first people to like
it's
go into the
ridiculous, dude.
endowment session and like film it and post it on YouTube. And like he would mow his lawn in his temple clothes, tie-dyed. And I was like, you're a moron. Like, anyways.
See, that's hilarious. But see, it's like that guy. My
Have fun at
gut
Judgment Day, dude.
dude, my gut reaction is like, screw that guy. He's a
Right, I
piece of
know.
crap. But then then I quickly catch. See, it's okay to have the gut reaction because you're human. So like the knee jerk hits, and I'm like, that guy's an idiot. But then I'll have the thought come in where it's like, who cares? He can do whatever he wants. Screw that guy. Whatever. It's kind of like that. Like, forget about him. Forget about him. Who cares? He can do that. And then you just feel like, dude, there was a member in Harker's Island who would mow his lawn in his garment top, but not out of spite towards the church. He's just weird.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, elders. I'm like,
You're like, oh my
you should
gosh,
put a
put
shirt
a
on, but
shirt
what's up?
on.
And it's like the old ones where, never mind. But I would just be like, hey man, weirdo, just go put a shirt on, or take your shirt off. Like, I guess that would be better. But anyways,
No, I've really enjoyed like this discussion. I think, it's obviously been, we started with school and we kind of moved into, I don't even know what we moved into, but like
yeah, I
I
don't know
think
what you would specify that as. Yeah, I don't know.
just like as we've been talking, I think it's, just reinforced in my mind, the importance of having people to talk to. And so like if there's anything we can do to help you out, like Reiss is your go-to guy with, physical needs, questions,
Yeah, we're getting
nutrition.
certified now, boys. So
So if you
legit.
have questions with that, or if you just need someone to talk to, or whatever it might be, like we want to help you, we want to be able to support you, and in whatever means that can be for us. So please reach out to us, whether it's through Instagram, phone number, Facebook. We want to be able to help you and support you, and whatever that might be, just talking, working out, spiritual stuff, whatever it might be. So
Facts, dude. Look at this. I got,
oh,
dude. That
dude,
was today.
my tricep is, I mean, you can't see it super good, but I'm finally starting to get like where it's starting to go all the way
Yeah,
around.
the horseshoe, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine were like so pumped today. I thought it was gonna like it.
It's gonna
It got to the point
explode.
where like if you straighten your arm out, it feels like it's gonna cramp.
My favorite
It's like,
thing is when I did triceps yesterday, is when you're moving your arms back and forth and the muscle right here starts rubbing against it because it's like expanding.
oh yeah, dude.
Oh
It's
yeah.
weird. It's weird how much the muscle, like just by pumping it full of blood, it grows so much. Like it kind
Yeah.
of scares me. Like, cause like I'll show people pictures like that, and then I'm like, I don't always look like this.
Right.
I swear. Like this was for like an hour this morning, and now my arms like back to normal, but like back to baseline. But yeah, it's just insane. But anyways, yeah, I ditto to what you said about hitting us up. I love when I get new messages from people or whatever. So I would say if you're going to hit me up, do it on Instagram or my phone number, because I don't check Facebook Messenger that much. And I've had a few people reach out to me there, and I get to it like a week later and I'm like, oh shoot, dude, I'm so sorry. Like I never checked this. And I don't even think I have my, but like with Instagram, or if you have my phone number, I'm going to get back to you fast, like same day for sure. So that's definitely the way to do it.
Like that. Well, we love you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. And until then, love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Dude, that's hard to do, but love you, bye.